Hey viewer riders, thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to be doing a long-awaited update on my Tiger 900 GT Pro. Just about to tick over 13,000 miles on her. So I thought, yeah, it's long overdue. So I'm hoping you can hear me alright, because there's a lot of wind, and yet again I've lost the cover for the microphone on the GoPro Media Mod. So yeah, not good. I've covered the microphone up with a cloth, so I'm hoping that fix is going to work, but we shall see. Anyway, I made some notes on my phone. So I thought I can't be bothered to write it all out, and we'll go through the good and the bad. Yeah, so I've owned my Tiger 900 for about a year and a half now. So I bought her in March 21 it was. Yeah, and in that time I've done 13,000 miles. Let's go through the pros and the cons then, of my ownership.
You okay, buddy?
Yes, mate. Just doing some filming.
Good man.
Enjoying the sun.
No worries.
Yeah, so to start to show this bike is that 900cc engine. Well, see, I can't remember the exact capacity. But that T-plane crank that makes it feel like a twin. It's unbelievable. I love this engine. It's plenty punchy enough, and you can get a serious lick on with this bike up to up to just past naughty speeds. And I think it looks good as well. All that black and grey. It's a really nice looking engine. It's punchy for the rev range, and lower down there's plenty of, not plenty, there's enough torque anyway. There's enough torque to have some fun with. I like the looks of this bike as well, so that's another plus point for me. Yeah, combine that engine with that lovely typical Triumph smooth gearbox, that excellent quick shifter, and the whole transmission package works really well in my opinion. Next we have the looks. Now, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think, and I hope you'll agree, that this is a lovely looking bike. I love the looks of it personally. I think it looks fantastic. All the attention to detail. The paint schemes are a bit boring, has to be said, but I always buy my black bikes anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. I had the silver panels fitted as an option, but again, we'll come back to that in a minute. But I probably wouldn't recommend it because they're not wearing very well. They need a lot of maintenance. As standard, this is a really well equipped bike as well. Obviously you got the lean sensitive traction and traction control and ABS, and everything works really nice. And I don't really ride expecting to use them, so I've never had cause to rely on them, thankfully, but it's nice to know that they're there in the background. Obviously, this being a GT Pro model, you got the fog lights as standard as well, and that's fantastic. You can't see because I've got a R&G shock sock on, but you can see the electrics there. They use for that fantastic electronic suspension. That for me is well worth the extra for the GT Pro by itself. Take a pillion, no problem, just adjust it on the fly. And when you get to your destination, if you want to go out by yourself, one click of a button and it sorts itself out. Obviously you got that TFT display. I've already done a video on that, so don't need to show you any more on it. But some people don't like it. I quite like it. I've got used to it and it's fine. I think the BMW still have the edge on the TFTs, but personally speaking, you know, it's not a deal breaker for me, and I prefer the joystick control rather than the wheel control anyway of the BMWs. And also in your display here, I'm not going to show you now, it's all been done to death, but you've got the turn-by-turn navigation. I'll show you offhand. So that, yeah, actually coming back to the suspension, so there's your suspension settings. You've got rider and pillion, rider and luggage, and pillion and luggage. You set that, and you can change your damping. So I always have it quite firm, and I prefer it that way. And then you've got your TPMS. Again, some people always slate TPMS, but I've never had a problem with it. I mean, fingers crossed. I've never had a false readout, and it's alerted me to a puncture reliably. So yeah, no issues for me. There's one big bonus for this bike. I mean, I don't ride this bike. You know, yeah, I don't ride this bike slow. I have some fun on it, but I do a good mixture actually. I mean, sometimes I like to have a little bimble. But with mixed riding, including dragging it at times, 56.5 miles per gallon. Excellent fuel economy from this bike. But yeah, you can change all your displays, so you can change colours. You know, there's lots to do in there. So you've got your Bluetooth connectivity, which that's probably one thing with this TFT that I don't really bother using. I mean, I've got my phone connected to it, but I've taken all the options off to play around with it. It's crap. It's not crap, but it's okay. I mean, the navigation is workable, but I'd still rather have a map. What other equipment we've got at standard? So obviously you got the hand guards, the beak, which will look nice. I think it sets the bike off well. LED lighting all round. Oh, sorry, yeah, apart from the actually I think the indicators might be LED, yeah, but I've got the accessory scalding indicators, which come to in a minute. Yeah, going back to that miles per gallon, I reckon you probably get about 240 miles out of this before it runs dry, which is not bad going really. And that's you know, if you've really rode like old granny, so to speak, you'll probably get 250, I reckon, easily. So in terms of distance riding, it's a bit of a mixed bag. It is a vibey engine, you know, there's no getting away from that. The seat's not the most comfortable, and you get a couple of hours out of it before your seat starts to get, before your backside starts to get numb. But it's nowhere near as comfortable as the Tiger 1200 seat. So maybe with an updated model, they'll be looking into that. Anyway, that brings us on to the cons. So obviously, I've already said this, but that characterful engine does. It does mean that it does give out some vibes, and you do feel it through the pegs and through the handlebars. I personally quite like it. I think it gives it character, but it does on long journeys. Yeah, you can start to feel it. The standard tyres are terrible. Why do Triumph insist on fitting them Metzeler Torances still? They're crap. They're shocking. We'll talk about that in a minute, but one of the best mods you can do on this bike is change the tyres. We'll get to that in a minute. Obviously, I already said the paint schemes are a bit boring, has to be said. But just lately, Triumph has started to bring out some nicer colour schemes. So I think you can get the Rally Pro in a khaki green now, which looks really nice. Let's have a little sit down. yeah, which looks the khaki green looks really nice. So hopefully they'll be bringing out some more daring colours soon. Obviously the TFT is a bit Marmite, but I like it. It's not for everyone though. One of the major drawbacks I would say of this bike, it's the servicing costs. I'll flash up what I paid now. I've had three services. The 600 mile service is you just have to pay for parts. Well, my local dealer anyway. The 6k, I can't remember exactly how much it was, but yeah, I'll flash all the prices up now. But I've just had the 12k service done, and that was including from brake pads. Yeah, that was coming on £800. So yeah, if you're a high mileage rider, this probably isn't the bike for you, because unless you plan on doing the servicing yourself. Service it yourself, you know, then it's up to you. If you're happy doing all that work and looking after it, then you don't have to worry about the warranty or anything like that. So yeah, servicing it yourself, then yeah, you can probably get away with it. But if you want to get your servicing done at the main dealers, it's going to be a very expensive bike to run. There's no getting away from that. And 6,000 mile services are, you know, when the 1200 does 10,000 miles between services, you know, come on Triumph, let's improve that. Other manufacturers are getting better at it. I'm going to show you this now. There is a phone holder under the seat. I'll try and do this one-handed. So bear with. Yeah, so the phone holder under the seat, I mean, it's pointless. I just use it for storage, but you get a cover on it, but it doesn't sit properly anyway. And there's a USB port there, which is covered by a weatherproof plug. But if you're loaded with luggage, why would you put your phone under there for? Every time you want to get to it, you're going to have to take your seat off, take your luggage off to get to the seats. So yeah, that's absolutely pointless. Why not engineer in a little cover just here where you can put your phone in. One other thing that is worth noting is the fork diver standard is quite bad. It does dive quite a bit, especially 2 up. I've changed it to the sport settings. I made a video on that, and that made a huge difference, and it's not actually too harsh either. So that's one mod I do recommend doing. So let's go through what's just average. The screen is hit and miss. I like that it's got a decent height, but there's not enough protecting your sides, so you still get blasted from the side of it. It could do with being a bit wider. I've put these extra deflectors on here by I think they're Pug, what do you say? Yeah, Pug, yeah, and yeah, it helps a little bit, but really you want a nice wide screen. You know, it's high enough, it's not a problem with height. It goes over my helmet, but it's the sides I get turbulence from. Obviously the Bluetooth module already covered. It's a bit hit and miss. They have updated it, and it does seem to connect now to a lot of phones, although apparently with the latest iOS update you do have problems with the sat nav. I don't know about that. I've got, because I don't use a sat nav on there, I've got Waze on the quad lock. So yeah, Bluetooth, it's hit and miss. I mean, you got all the controls for your music. The SMS notifications I found are really haphazard. But yeah, I mean, I've got a Senna intercom system anyway, and I can just control it all from there anyway, so I don't even bother. So yeah, Bluetooth hit and miss. Sat nav is just about workable if you really need it, but if you really want to declutter everything, you can. I mean, if you really want to declutter your front there, you can definitely, you know, as long as you don't put anything on the seat, you can use that phone cover and get the sat nav on there, the turn by turn sat nav. But in my opinion, it's not as good as a proper dedicated sat nav on your phone or a TomTom. One other average aspect of the bike I would say is, and this is a bit harsh, is the build quality. It's not as good as my Tiger 800 was, I have to say. There's a fair few bolts that are furred up. There's been mine aren't too bad, but there's been some reports of the engine guards rusting, and as I already mentioned, you know, the finish isn't weathering very well on these aftermarket covers, not aftermarket, OEM accessory covers. I don't know if you can see there, but, yeah, it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not terrible. I mean, you know, I run this bike year round, but yeah, it's not as good as on my Tiger 800. But it's by no means as bad as the 2007 Suzuki Bandit I owned from new, that literally dissolved after a couple of winters. Now to go back to the positives, because I forgot to talk about this, the lights. It's bright now, so I can't show you. I have actually done a video on these lights, and well, I've done 2 videos actually. These are some of the best lights I've ever used on any bike, without a doubt. In full beam mode with the fog lights on, I mean, it's like daylight again. Yeah, fantastic LED lights, and they're really bright. And again, these scrolling LED lights are really visible as well. I'm not sure how much you'll be able to pick up from here. That's the LED running light. I'm not sure the GoPro's going to pick that up, but yeah, the lights are amazeballs. The screen, also come back to the screen, it's also fairly easy to adjust on the fly. Just pull it up, push it, pull. So what are my list of worthwhile mods on this bike? I'll start off by saying luggage wise, I would go for the Givi XS 319 tank bag, because it's the only tank bag I've tried. You can just about get your key in and out without it interfering with the ignition. I wouldn't go for Triumph Zone panniers and top box, they just weigh a ton. So yeah, I did have the Triumph top box, but you know, for when you're at low speeds, when you're, you know, filtering and that, you can really notice that extra weight at the top. So I've gone for the Givi V40 because it's very lightweight, you don't even notice it's there, and it still fits a helmet in. I've got the Hepco and Becker Seabo, I can't remember what they're called now, street side panniers, I think that's the right ones. So these are soft panniers, and they're really nice. They're good size, they're perfect for my needs. Obviously if you're packing for 2 people, then they probably won't be, but for my personal needs, they work really well. Again, I've done a review on them, so if I remember I'll put a link up, but if not, they're in my past videos. One other excellent mod on this bike that this is a must to have fitted, is the Pyramid Plastics blanking plate. There's a hole here as standard, and it literally cakes your rear end with mud when it rains. Yeah, so that bit there is usually a hole, but this blanking plate covers that and stops all the crack coming up. Well, some of the crack coming up. But yeah, so I don't know why that hole is there for, but. And then I would say one of my favourite mods as well is the quad lock. You need an anti-vibration dampener on here, definitely. But I've got the charging module as well, so I'm in the process of doing a video on that, so it might be up before this video is done, or it might not. But yeah, it'll be in my videos soon. I've done a fitting video on the Tiger 900 and a review. I would say also one very worthwhile mod is the LED scrolling indicators. They're really visible, and yeah, anything that improves your visibility is a bonus, isn't it? And actually, now we're going to come to, this is definitely the one single the mod that you absolutely must get done. Actually, Michelin Road 6s. I mean, the standard Metzlers are absolute pants, and I've had Road 5s on this before, but these Road 6s are an absolute effing game changer. They really transformed the handling on this bike. I can't praise them enough. I mean, you can really hustle this bike now, whereas on the Metzlers, it just feels wooden when you're pushing on. But yeah, these are brilliant tyres. I know. If I was going to advise one mod to do on your bike, on your Tiger 900, well, on any bike, Michelin Road 6s. So that's just about it for the list of mods. Actually, I can go through what's not so worthwhile. Actually, I would say the Arrow exhaust. It's barely any smaller than the stock one, and barely any louder, and I'm not sure if there's any difference in performance, but the standard pipe is pretty decent anyway. It sounds pretty fruity anyway, so you can't take the baffle out of these either, so I really wouldn't bother with the Arrow exhaust personally. I mean, the carbon tip looks nice, but yeah, that's about it. Apart from that, yeah, the standard exhaust doesn't look too bad anyway. Be careful when fitting a hugger, because oh, you won't be able to see it, but just there it was rubbing the paint off. I think this is a pyramid hugger, but yeah, it was making contact with the paint, and I noticed it was starting to rub a bit of paint off. So I've put something under there to protect the paintwork now. And oh, actually, I just remembered one more worthwhile mod. The R&G Shock. The R&G Shock Sock. I had that on my Tiger 800, and when I took it off after 20 odd thousand miles, the shock was like new. So, and yeah, refitted it on here, fits perfectly. So yeah, that's another worthwhile mod. Yeah, so in terms of running costs, your servicing is going to be the biggest problem at 6 and 12k, and they're not cheap at all. And obviously you got your tax on top of that, which I dread to think what it is now. I have on a direct debit, so I didn't even look. So one of the biggest questions to answer is, have I had any problems or faults with this bike? And no, it's been faultless in that 13k miles. The only slight issue I had, I did have, after it was valeted, whoop, my phone's on. After it was valeted, the rear brake light stopped working on the rear pedal. But yeah, I just had a little wiggle of the brake light switch like that, and it started working again. So I think it was just a case of some water had got in where it shouldn't, and yeah, I just made sure we got it all out, and it's been fine since. Aside from that, didn't have the rubber cover was perishing here, so it's been looked at the service, and they've put some protective wrap round it. But yeah, that was perishing, and the wires were exposed to that metal retaining clip. So again, didn't cause any problems, just one of them things, but it's been sorted at the service. What else? Yeah, the clock loses time. I seem to lose like about a minute a week. Yeah, so that's a bit weird. It's just one of them stupid things. The centre stand spring was rusty, went rusty pretty quickly, but that was replaced for free at the service and a warranty. So again, just minor issue, easily sorted. Yeah, when I first got the bike, she did used to cut out occasionally when you were coming to a stop in first gear. After the first update though, never did it again, so I think it's just a case of updating the ECU software. But yeah, not been a problem again. So it is literally only happened about twice, I think, but I know some owners have complained about it too, so that's one thing. A few more bits in terms of running costs actually. So the rear brake pads needed replacing at 6k, and the front brake pads at the 13k service, but the rears were alright. Go figure. I don't ride the rear brake. I know I don't, because I keep my foot to the right hand side of the peg, so that's a weird one. But anyway, I won't question it. It is what it is. I had to replace a chain at 10k. My fault. I didn't. Basically, when riding it through winter, I just didn't maintain it, and they ended up with some seized links. So I've actually replaced it with a DID chain, which I'll show you now. The sprockets were still good, so we didn't change them. Yeah, that's the DID chain there. So I'll just go over a couple of bits in terms of riding this bike. Also, I've been over the vibration. You get some vibrations, as we already discussed, through the engine, through the pegs and the bars. All the controls are easy to use. You know, this joystick, there's a little bit of getting used to. Once you do, it's not a problem. Everything feels nice. The cruise control is easy to use. And the GTPRO comes with heated seat and heated grips as standard as well. So yeah, everything's easy to use, and they are illuminated at night, which when you've got quite a few buttons like that, makes a big difference, so you're not fumbling around for what you're looking for. Obviously the seat is a couple of hours comfortable, but after that it starts to hurt a bit, so that's one thing that could do with improving. Riding position's nice and neutral. Still that little bit of a lean, so you still got enough sportiness, but not enough to be uncomfortable. Yeah, but it's pretty much the bang on riding position for me, I'd say. Riding with a pillion, I've had my wife on the back a few times, and she's had no complaints. It's a comfortable seat, and with a top box as well, keeps her in place. Well, comfortable seat for a couple of hours again, you know, like the rider's seat. But yeah, so no complaints for the pillion. It's roomy enough at the back there. What are the common faults to look out for on this bike? So I'm on a couple of the Tiger 900 forums. One of the most common failure definitely is the quick shifter. I've never had a problem with it, but it does happen. But by the looks of it, they're always replaced, no questions asked, by Triumph. So, and you can still ride the bike anyway. You just ride it as a normal, you know, clutch bike. So that's not exactly a deal breaker. Also, I mentioned the centre stand spring. I have heard of people got some cracks on the subframe. I don't think it's common, but it has happened. That's one thing to keep an eye out for. Apart from that, I think they seem to be pretty durable bikes. I mean, it's a bike that's loaded with tech, so eventually you're going to get some electrical gremlins, no matter who builds it. So it is what it is. But yeah, so far, I've got no complaints. What about some ideas for the update? One thing I would like to see on this bike is keyless ignition. I know not everyone's a fan of it, but I personally am. And you could then get away with fitting a bigger tank bag without any issues. And that's also another thing. Triumph don't offer a tank bag for the 900, which is frustrating. So they offer like panniers, top box, a bag to go on the back. But yeah, no tank bag. So why is that? Adaptive cruise control would be a nice addition as well, especially for doing long trips. That's a brilliant bit of tech, that. I would also like to see a USB port on a dash rather than that hella DIN thing. And also increase the service intervals at least to 7,500 and fit some better tyres as standard. And yeah, apart from that, no, seat, make the seat a bit more comfortable as well. But apart from that, this is pretty much you know, a fantastic all-round bike. So which brings me now to my conclusions. Do I regret buying this bike? No. It's absolutely a brilliant bike. I've just come back from holiday in France where I rented a GS, and GS is a great bike, but you know what, there's no way, I don't know what people see in it, I would take this over the GS any day. Don't get me wrong, I can see why people love the GS, but not for me. Those cylinders get in the bloody way for one. And the GS is still a big heavy bike. Obviously it's a different class, isn't it? But you know, this is almost as fast up to the naughty speeds, and you know, it's lighter, and you know, for me it's perfect. Obviously if you're carrying pillion and luggage on tour, then yeah, maybe it might be a different story, but other than that, why would you go for a bigger bike? This is fine. I think that's covered just about everything I can tell you about my Tiger 900 GT Pro. If you have any questions, just ask me in the comments, and if you like this video, then please like and consider subscribing. Thanks for riding with me, V-Riders, and I'll speak to you on the next one.